Hey, this is Gary Yao. I'm here with Frank. Frank, how are you?
I'm doing well, Gary. How are you?
I'm doing great. Frank, last week we talked about, we were talking about probate and how to do yourself probate, but we entered into a different segue that to me was interesting, and that was reverse mortgages. Now, let's delve into that a little bit more. Tell me a little bit more about what was your experience, something that you like people to understand about reverse mortgages. What is it, and how does that affect people? Or is that a good thing?
Well, no, that's that. Well, I'm going to relate it to probate because that's what that's the topic.
Mm-hmm.
But you're right. We spent a lot of time on reverse mortgages because number one, because it happens a lot. You see it a lot in probate. Number two, it's becoming more and more popular. And number three, there's a lot of confusion about how do you handle a reverse mortgage when you go through probate.
Mm-hmm.
And the biggest thing that comes to mind, and I guess the most extreme thing that people need to know is when there is a reverse mortgage and that person passes away.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why, but this happens so frequently that the person that's going to be in charge, or maybe even just any family member, calls the reverse mortgage company and says, hey, mom passed away. Now what do we do? And that is the absolute worst thing you could do. I don't know if they've, if somehow, somewhere they read, you have to call and let us know right away, which you do. The reverse mortgage companies do say, hey, if mom passes away, we need to know, and we need to know right away.
Mm-hmm.
And I get that's the instruction. Do the opposite.
Don't
not.
call. Oh, right away.
No,
That's
don't.
interesting.
No, don't, because it's unlikely that they'll find out, and we'll talk about that in just a second, that they still find out. They will still find out. Some find out, and
You
we'll
have to
talk
register the death. You have to register the deceased with that certificate. So yeah, it's public record. Of course, going to be out.
It's public record, but let's say you get a reverse mortgage from I don't even know what the biggest reverse mortgage lender out there is. I couldn't even name a name. But let's assume for a second that you're dealing with that company, the biggest one out there, and they know everything.
Mm-hmm.
They still, you're correct. When somebody passes away, the county actually requires you by law
Yeah.
to file to let the county know, and we're talking about anybody who owns property. The county wants to know that if somebody passed away, a property owner, that you're required to let the county know that that person passed away within the first 6 months.
There you go. So yeah.
Oh, so there's that. There's also, you're right, there's always a death certificate. And that's public record. There's that too. But most lenders are, and let's talk about, I said we'll talk about it later. Let's talk about it now. How do they find out? There are lenders out there that will do checks. They hire a company that literally checks on an ongoing basis to see if there's a match between their clients and somebody who passed away. I don't know how they do it. To be honest with you, it sounds a little sleazy. It sounds a little stalkerish that they have the ability to do that, but they do.
I mean, I guess it makes sense because you're dealing with the elderly. I mean, when you're offering here's my opinion on that. When you're offering a product or a service to an elderly, knowing full well that they don't have much time left. Therefore,
that's terrible. That's a terrible thing to say, Gary. But go on.
I'm just stating the fact, right? Like you're offering reverse mortgages.
No,
because...
it's not a fact. The people live a fairly long time after they get a reverse mortgage.
Fair enough.
That's the whole point of getting a reverse mortgage, because the expectation is that they're going to be around for a long time.
They live past of what they have saved for retirement. And
that is true.
Yes,
true.
And the grinding years of their prime years, right? The grinding time, which is 20s to 30s and 40s, are gone. So this is the time that they should choose to enjoy themselves. But because their nest egg is not as big, then they need a little assistance, and therefore it's the equity of the property. So these properties, these companies, of course, the bottom line for them is to make a profit. So in order to safeguard, I guess, the safeguard, whatever they I don't know how to say this, these people like the other. I want to
how do I say it without offending the reverse?
Right now that you mentioned, like that's something mean to say, like you have to safeguard your investment. If they expire, then that's when you collect. I mean, it's not funny, but at the same time, like, how do I navigate to this, to this point where
I'm giving you points on your diplomacy of your choice of words.
I'm trying.
Very, very. Yeah, I know you are.
But here's my point though. Before we move on to what you want to say, it's like, I guess to the credit of the company that they did pay up front, and they want to make sure that they can reap the benefits of be able to profit on the equity of the property, and the time that they get to get the properties, when the person who signed on the dotted line is no longer there. So that is what I want to say. Without sounding to me. But yeah, so if the person dies, the company is going to take over, and that's how they make a profit.
Well, the company is going to want to be repaid.
There you go.
When that happens, yes, and again, I appreciate your attempt at being diplomatic and not offending anybody.
I could be much shorter and say 3 sentences. Okay.
Yeah, no, let's leave it at that.
Yes.
So the bottom line is the lenders find out one of two ways. Either they have a system that regularly checks to see if somebody's passed away, and they could find out that way. And I've had clients that have received a letter in the mail saying, hey, we are aware that mom passed away, and according to the terms of our loan, you have the estate has 3 months, maybe 6 months to repay the loan.
The entirety of the loan.
Yes, right. So they will either find out that way, they'll get a letter, or and here's the self-inflicted area. A lot of family members will call the lender and say, "Hey, mom died. Now we
pay us back. Well, give us the property."
Well, yeah, and here's the thing, and this is reverse mortgage companies provide a great service. They do, and they make life much better for so many of our seniors. So that said, they're terrible, horrible when it comes to the person passing away, and I'll tell you why. Because as soon as they find out that the person passed away, they file a notice of default.
I didn't know that.
They will file a notice of default. And that is their way of letting the estate know, hey guys, we were serious about getting paid. So they file a notice of default. And then the notice of default is mailed out to them. And it's no different than, if you're going through foreclosure. There's a notice that's posted on that house that says, hey, we're going to foreclose on this. And what a horrible way of trying to get the estate's attention. Your mom just passed away. You're just trying to, you don't know what to do. You call the lender, tell the lender what happened. Lender says, hey, sorry for your loss. Thanks for calling. By the way, the note says we need to be paid off in 3 to 6 months, or whatever the note says. And thank you for calling. And then, you're grieving, and then somebody goes and posts a note on mom's house that says we're going to foreclose on this property in another 60 days. Here's a notice of default.
To be fair, the person who signed the contract is no longer there. Like the job of these lenders or these companies, right, is to the one who signed. You're grieving, but that has no bearings on the property itself. I mean,
Gary, sorry for your loss, but we don't care. Pay us.
I mean, Mike, let's say I'm the lender. I'm not trying to be pro or anything like that, but I'm looking at it just the black and white of the ink. If I was a lender, my extent of my service was to your parents, not you. So I did my service of to give money each month to help that person who's no longer here. That contract is fulfilled. You're grieving.
Okay. So, hey, I'm sorry that you lost your mom. But here's the bottom line: she's gone anyway. She's not going to find out that we filed a notice of default.
Well, she kind of knew when she signed the contract, right?
No,
they don't know that.
That's exactly my point. Is that they pass away, but they don't know that their son or daughter is going to get they're just they're still thinking about funeral arrangements and all that other stuff, and then the neighbor calls them and says, hey, somebody just posted a foreclosure notice on the front door of your mom's house. Nobody knows that. Nobody expects that. And this is how the reverse mortgage companies work. They want to, number one, get your attention and let you know, hey, guys, we're serious about getting paid. And number two, the clock's ticking. And they literally do go through the foreclosure process. Yeah. They'll take all the steps. They will be ready to foreclose. They won't. They usually, and I've seen it happen, they won't foreclose. They'll work with the family. They'll, especially if you're contacting them. In a lot of cases, I try to contact them as well, but they won't want to talk to me because I'm not authorized to.
You're not part of the transaction.
I'm not. Yeah. But they will talk to me. They will. I can call and tell them I'm calling about this loan. I understand you won't give me any information. Please understand, the property is listed for sale. Go to Zillow and you can see that it's listed for sale. We intend to pay you back. I just want to make sure that we don't run out of time.
Okay.
But it's just, in my opinion, a horrible way to do business because of the circumstances and the fact that the family is going through a difficult time. And on top of that, they slap a notice of default on the front door. I don't think that that's necessary, but it is what it is. But it brings me back to my original point of, you never tell the lender that the person passed away, because you will pay that loan back. You will, either refinance the property and pay them off, or sell the property and pay them off, but you'll do it on your time. You're going through a difficult time as it is. You don't need the bank on your back saying, hey guys, running out of time. When are you going to pay us? It just adds an added pressure to the family. That's just not necessary. And that's the one thing that most people don't know. I didn't know, before I started dealing with reverse mortgages, I didn't know that that's how they worked. I would get calls from clients who would say, hey, my mom's property is going to be foreclosed on. And I said, why? And they'd explain it to me. And I saw very quickly that the lenders do, if they find out, either because they do their own research and they find out that that person passed away, or you voluntarily call them. This is where the message I want to get through: do not call them. Do not volunteer that information.
It's like this: when you go into a car accident, do not call your insurance right away. Call your lawyer.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly, something like that. Yes, call somebody else. Call the lawyer.
Right. I was gonna say this. You're gonna have a different opinion on how, like, what is, I don't want to say right or wrong, but I have a different point of view from I guess how things are or how it should be. I'm just saying, like, hey, it is what it is, and the company actually, I mean, yeah, it's horrible. You're grieving and you get hit with this. I guess foreclosure or pre-foreclosure notice of default, but I think that's normal. I mean, I've seen that before. It is horrible. Yes, I agree with them as well, but I see it as, I guess, as part of it. Like, I don't know how I want to say this, but like, I think it's a transactional thing, and I think it's a normal thing. When you sign up for a reverse mortgage, you are no longer giving the house to your heirs. You're giving the house really to the financial institution. That's something that before signing up for this, you have to talk about with your family.
Well, that is one way of looking at it. Another way of looking at it is, I am giving this house to my heirs minus the the loan on the property. Not all loans on probate property are reverse mortgages. In a lot of cases, somebody could have died, they could have been, at an age where you wouldn't expect them to die.
Yeah.
And they did, and there's a mortgage. Not all properties are paid free and clear. In fact, I think most have some sort of mortgage against the, even if it's small, against the property. So it's not uncommon for there to be a mortgage when it comes to probate. And in a lot of cases, it could be a reverse mortgage. But you're still leaving that property to your heirs minus the loan.
Yeah.
So you're right. You and I have very different outlooks on that too.
Frank, unfortunately, time was long past, but I wanted to continue this discourse. But if people want to get a hold of you, how can they contact you?
Best way to get a hold of me is franklopezbroker.com, or you can always call me at 626-289-11.
Awesome, Frank. Thank you very much, and we'll talk
You're
next
welcome.
time.